All right, good morning, beautiful people, on an incredible October week. Hopefully, everybody's having a great start to their week with 80-degree weather. And you guys are crushing it. I have one piece of advice for you. Here we go. Here's what I'll tell you. I'll give you a very quick, it should be a relatively brief team meeting this morning. The goal of it is this. We have Metro MLS coming on to talk about clear cooperation, single parties, excluded, and all the things you need to know. As soon as I know that Jared's on. Jared's not on yet. He was supposed to be on at 9 o'clock. So we're going to get rolling, and we'll roll back to Jared when I know he's on, unless he's on. And then Jared, you just pop on and tell me. Sweet? All right, here we go. Sweet. We're going to jump right into it, and I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to go right into Lindsay. Lindsay, marketing concierge. And what do these guys need to know or be paying attention to?
All right. Good morning, everybody. So we are officially in Q4. And as Charlie has talked about the energy dial, this is the time of year that we start to think about cleaning up our database and reworking some of our systems. And that also includes kind of rethinking about our marketing, and maybe we're rebranding, or we're thinking about how do we market ourselves to our clients. And so I wanted to just take a few moments to remind everybody about our marketing concierge. Quite a few of our agents have been utilizing this the past few months. And now that our website is rebranded, it's really, really simple to go in here and click and order some of these materials. So we have listing materials, so brochures, flyers, postcards, social media posts. We also have our listing and buyer presentations. And then we have some more of those brand awareness materials. So trifold brochures, door hangers, business cards, email signatures, the 12 direct campaigns, and also yard signs are now located under the marketing concierge. So if you're looking for those, it's not its own tab anymore. Everything's lumped together under that one tab, the marketing concierge, which you can find in the navigation menu at the very top of the screen. And in addition to the concierge section of the website, we also have grab and go materials. So on the next slide, this is going to be located under the agent hub. And so this is that section that is completely private, just to our Keller Williams Milwaukee associates. And so there is a specific section in the agent hub for tech and marketing resources. And you'll see there is a marketing assets section where you can click to view. That's going to take you into a Google Drive folder. And like I said, these are grab and go materials. So if you just need something to post on social media or something to share via text, you can grab these images, you can grab these PDF files, and you can utilize them however you choose. So you have all of the 12 direct campaign materials in here. So you've got that buck schedule that you can send out. You've got the pumpkin farms. All of that local content is in there. The MLS market updates. So social media posts that you can easily grab and go, post on social media, talk about what the market's doing. And then we also have various holiday posts. And so one of the things that will be coming soon is individual email smart plans for each holiday that you'll find in command in our KW Milwaukee Smart Plan library. So we're constantly adding new materials to the marketing concierge and just building that up so that you've got more content that you can send out to your clients. We're always talking about adding those client touches every single month, and these are the materials that will do that. And then I think I just have a couple slides, just reminders, few of the new materials that are out. Buck schedule, the season starts next week, you guys. Preseason starts on the 8th, so get those buck schedules out. And then we also have the Milwaukee area pumpkin patches. So it's just that time of year and really great weather we've been having. So get out and go to those pumpkin farms. So again, just content that you can send out to your clients. And then coming soon, we do have the trunk or treat schedule. So that'll be out the next week or so. So just another postcard, social media post, or email that you can send out to your farm or your database. All right. And then just a little kind of piggybacking off of last week. So last week, Tuesday, everyone should have received an email, an invitation email to the KW Milwaukee Agent Hub on our new website. If you did not receive an email, everyone was added and uploaded using the email that we have on our office rosters. So if you did not get that email, click on that Milwaukee, that Agent Hub, and then click on sign up with Google. That should get you right in using that KW, your KW email or whatever Gmail account you have on that roster. Sign up with Google, click on that button, that will get you right in. So if anyone was having issues with that, click on that button. If you're still having issues getting in, just reach out to me. I'll help troubleshoot. We'll get you in. All right. And then Charlie, did you want me to kind of go through the site a little bit more?
No, I think you're good.
Perfect. All right. And then as I mentioned, October, all about fall cleanup. Kathleen and I are going to be going through that database cleanup, how you can clean up your database in some really systematic ways on Thursday. And then we're talking about that D2 system. Bold starts next week, you guys. We like to always have a training like this prior to Bold so that you can prepare before you start that 7-week program, just so that it's a little bit easier as you're in Bold and making those calls, sending those text messages. Having a clean database is really going to help you stay organized with that. And that doing the database too is just one of those systems that you can set up. And then later this month, we're going to be taking some of those playbooks from Mega Camp and incorporating that into our training. So the 3 that you see there: dominate your farm in 3 years, seventh level open houses, and then growing your database with client parties. So a lot of really great content that we have this month. Every single training is going to be on Zoom Thursdays at 11. So you can always watch it back to on our YouTube channel. So that's it.
Perfect.
Yes.
Frantic.
We have a question from the room.
Yeah.
Tell everybody I went to KWMKE, clicked on Google, connected right away.
Maureen said that she clicked on sign up with Google and she got right into the Agent Hub.
It's just MKE. I mean, you guys tell people, so easy, KWMKE, that's it.
Yep.
So easy.
Yep. Super easy to go onto our site, sign right in, get access to that Agent Hub and find everything that you need.
Perfect. Vranik, thank you. Guys, here's the question I would pose to you, and this is something I would write down. Okay? As you think about 2024 and we're looking at where it is that you are and where it is that you desire to go, here's the question I would ask of you. Okay? What is the intensity and frequency to which that I communicate to my database? The days in which that you can just sit around and wait for your phone to call are over. I don't know if you've experienced that yet this year, but it doesn't work. Okay. We're on pace to do just shy of 4 million transactions across the US this year. That's about the same level of transactions that the industry experienced in 08, 09, 010, 2010. What is the intensity and frequency into which that you are communicating with your database? And the way in which that you change the outcome to your income is the intensity and frequency in which you communicate. And the way in which that you can do that in a very easy way is tap into the resources that are available to you at your fingertips in a very simple way in which that we give you content that you can easily access from what it is that Lindsay helps you create. Make sense? Intensity and frequency. What is your intensity and what is your frequency with the relationship you have with your database? No? Perfect. All right. So Jared from the MLS is a no-show. No big deal. He's at the WRA convention. We tried to pull him in because we did have a few questions. He made a commitment. You know how I feel about people who make commitments. So we'll circle back to that conversation with somebody else. Coming up, Willis also want to make a reminder to the fact that there was new 5 and 5 episode that'll be dropping tomorrow with Sarah Jo Dietrich. Learn all about how Sarah Jo gives back to her clients. Shout out to her. Nancy, Jay, and the rest of the team just picked up a $3.5 million listing downtown. Really, really cool, unique property. And Sarah Jo is an incredible woman who gives back to the contract helpline. Great way for you to get to know those that are helping serve you and understand the questions that you can get answered and the place and how she comes from a place of contribution. So check that out with Sarah Jo Dietrich this week. Cool. So we've also been on this theme that winter is coming, and we've talked all around fall cleanup, winter renewal, spring and summer explosion. And right now, as we sit here in the fall, we're in the fall cleanup phase as it relates to the relationship you have with your database. And earlier, I challenged you, the intensity and frequency in which that you communicate or touch your database will ultimately determine your outcome to your income in 2024. And last week, we had a conversation with a panel of your peers, right? That talked around separation is in the preparation. What are some of the things that people are doing? Okay. Kathy talked about 3 things. 1, their team is focusing on income goal setting or as it relates to active income versus passive income. What are the education and training priorities that they need, right? Who are we and how are we showing up? And then 3, in which that they're focusing on right now, is how do they become the subject matter expert and what is it that we are missing? And that is how they're being introspective as to where they are and where they desire to go. Dan talked a little bit more around how much do we desire to make in understanding the data? How do we acquire our business? What is the conversion rate of our leads? And how many leads do we need in order to achieve the income we desire? And Amanda lastly talked about setting up goals quarterly. Why? Because it makes everything seem real and closer to the actual number. It creates reflection and reset in real time, a reflection of what worked, what didn't, and what's worth continuing, and who do I need to become in order to be the person who hits these goals. Okay. It was an incredible conversation. The reason why I bring these back up is twofold. 1, it's worthy to go back and listen to what it is that the top people of your peers are doing right now in a very intentional and purposeful way as we head in the 3rd and 4th quarter. Okay. The other aspect of it is it's showing, what I'm trying to do is show you what the top people are doing, and so that you're hearing it from them and as it relates to the actual activities that they're doing. Make sense? So if you're interested to want to go back and listen to that 10-minute part of the conversation, it is on the YouTube channel that you can go back and listen to last week's team meeting. And I also wanted to provide you the 3 or 4 bullets that I took away from the conversation with these people as it relates to what they're doing now and how you can implement that moving forward. Cool. All right. So upcoming training and events. The October training calendar is out. Handful of things to call out. 1, next week on Wednesday the 11th is the first step to bold. Okay, first step to bold. Anyone can show up. Come, learn, listen, reset your mindset. Anyone is available to attend. If you're still on the fence, you want to know what it's about, it's a great first day to show up. 8:30 a.m. We will be done right around 1 o'clock next week, Wednesday. And then as a reminder for the 91 people who have already registered for Bold, the 91 people need to know that Bold officially then starts on Wednesday, October 25th at 8:30 a.m. at the zoo. So we go step 1 on October 11th, then we take a week break, and then we go right into it on October 25th, and then we will go weekly until the end with the break there for Thanksgiving. Makes sense? A couple other things to call out and put on your calendar. Maureen and friends will be in person on Friday the 20th, and then we will be holding the admin mastermind here on the 27th. Lastly, one thing I want to put on your calendar is I want to tell you, just as a little hint, tease, I would save the date for December 7th. I'm not entirely sure what day of the week that is, as I forgot. Maybe a Wednesday? Thursday? It's a Thursday. December 7th. I would save the date. We're bringing in a few of my closest and dearest friends to come pour into the group. It will be at the War Memorial in downtown Milwaukee. Now, stay tuned for more information, but I would save the date for Thursday, December 7th.
Charlie, I think Jared might be here.
Got it. Jared, are you on? Give me 2 seconds. He is, but he's muted. We'll keep going until Jared shows up. All right, Bold delivers results. We talked about it. Not much more to say other than that. Save the date, Wednesday, October 11th. Okay, here we go. Jared, we good?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Jared, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Sorry for being tardy. My meeting ran late this morning. I'm at the WRA convention, so welcome to Kalahari, everybody.
Got it.
So we are talking today about excluded listings, correct?
Yeah, here's Jared, what I want you to kind of give these guys a little context to, because I'm still seeing, as much as we talk about this ad nauseum, I'm still seeing internally friends of ours that aren't totally understanding as to the purpose of the policy. And externally, we're seeing people that are completely unaware and ignorant as to what it is and how they're breaking clear cooperation. So first of all, Jared, give us a little bit of background, any intent of what clear cooperation is at the highest level.
Sure. And I apologize. I did lose my voice the other day, so I'm a little raspy today. But so basically the whole point of excluding a listing from the MLS is for the purpose of protecting a seller's privacy. So whether that is a CEO leaving the company that they're at to go somewhere else and they want to get their house sold without it being known that they're leaving, or it could be Bucks player, Brewers player, whatever. They just don't want that advertisement taking place. So that's the whole purpose of excluding a listing, is for that, protecting that seller's privacy. So clear cooperation basically states that if a property is excluded from the MLS compilation, that if it is advertised in any way, shape, or form, that it does need to be entered into the MLS within 1 business day of that advertising taking place. And when I say advertising, we're referring to anything that is in writing or in print. So if it's a social media post, if it's a sign going up, anything like that, even if it's a text message, like let's say, I text Charlie and just say, hey, I've got this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home at this address, this price range. Do you have anyone for it? That's technically considered advertising. However, I can call Charlie and just say, hey, I've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Do you have anyone that may be interested? It's in this area. That's fine, because I'm having that verbal conversation with them. But anytime it's physically put into writing or print, that's when it becomes advertising, and that's when it becomes a problem.
Got it. Jared, just for perspective, how often are you seeing issues as it relates to advertising and violations of clear cooperation still ongoing 2 years after the policy's been acted?
Yeah, so since the policy came into place, we definitely have seen a change in the usage of excluded listings. We've been seeing a lot more people utilizing the delayed listing status in order to keep showings off the market for a while. And we haven't had too many issues. The sanction is huge on this one. If we find out that the policy was violated, so someone advertised the property and did not enter it into the MLS within that 1 business day, I think the first time offense is like $2,000 per day until it gets put in. And that's basically just, the marketplace as a whole. Hopefully everyone, has kind of been keeping track on what's happening in the industry in general, especially with the different lawsuits. Now with Redfin leaving NAR and all this kind of stuff, everything's kind of all thrown up in the air. So we seem to make sure everyone's keeping their noses clean when it comes to these types of behaviors. Because if you are keeping the property off the market, again, it's for the protection or the privacy rather of the seller. And if you're starting to advertise that property, you really can't argue that you're protecting their privacy. So, we have definitely seen the number of excluded listings go down. And as far as people violating the policy, we haven't seen too many examples of it. We do send them, basically paperwork, stating, okay, you're excluding your listing, make sure you're aware of what this is.
And Jared, help us then identify too, the parameters around single party listings versus excluded listings, and what's appropriate when you take a single party listing versus what's not appropriate. And how do you clearly delineate between the two?
Yeah, so basically we almost view them as like one and the same. So if you do have like a 1-party listing, again, I could say, hey, Charlie, I've got a 1-party listing agreement, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in this area, do you have any buyers for it? Perfectly fine. But again, when it comes down to that advertising side of it and your fiduciary responsibilities, you got to keep in mind too, that when it comes to 1-party listings, it's typically only good for either a named party or a very small specific period of time. And if you don't have an actual contract in place, but you can get that 1-party listing agreement, if a buyer does appear, that would fall under state statute that it has to deal with advertising the property, which states that unless you have a valid listing contract, you cannot do any advertising whatsoever on that property.
Cool. And help these guys to identify, like, as it relates to single parties are not exclusive contracts. And so there is risk exposure as it relates to their fiduciary responsibility and or the way in which that others have access to similar inventory in a way in which that doesn't really protect their fiduciary or what it is that they do.
Yeah. So, when it comes to those one-party listing agreements, like Charlie just said, it is kind of like the wild, wild west with those, because there really is no protection in place because you don't have a valid listing agreement in place. And keep in mind too, that if you're going to be showing any one-party listings, that there is no offer of cooperation and compensation associated with it. Same thing with excluded listings. If it's excluded from the MLS, there's no offer of cooperation or compensation. So those are things that would need to be taken care of independently between the brokerages.
Cool. Awesome.
And then if you do sell a one-party listing, you're welcome to enter it in for comp purposes. We require you to do that after it actually closes, because until it actually closes, it's not open to the entire marketplace. So once it closes, at that point, it can go in. But if it's not being open to everyone, it's just that one named buyer, it would not go in until after it closes.
Got it. Cool. Yeah.
Just saw something pop up in chat.
Hold on, Jared. I got a question for you. Yeah, Jared, great question that came from someone within the room. We had a situation recently where someone took a delayed listing, but it wasn't entered in the MLS. So there's the time lapse in which that someone enters it into the MLS, but they're publicly advertising it in a way in which the client then came back to their buyer's agent and said, how come I don't know about this property? And the agent didn't know about the property because it wasn't advertised in the MLS, or it wasn't entered into the MLS. How is the MLS addressing issues like this, or what are ways in which that we can address these concerns that these activities put our peers in tough spots because they're clearly advertising things that have not been entered into MLS, and it makes the industry look poor, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of things with that. The first is that you do have that 48 hours to get your listing entered into the MLS. So there can always be that 48-hour lapse where you still have your fiduciary to advertise that property, but you don't have to necessarily get it into the system until that 48-hour time period elapses. And if there's a holiday involved in that, holidays we do not count as a day as far as that 48-hour period goes. So there can be that overlap. However, if it's beyond that 48 hours and they're still advertising the property and not putting it in the MLS, let us know. We investigate things anonymously. We won't ever call up the other agent and say, hey, we hear you've got this property at this location. Charlie Stolly, sent me a message on it. We basically will contact them and just say, hey, what's going on with this? We hear, that you're advertising a property at this address, this location, whatever, and it's not in the MLS. What's going on with it? And if they are a dual offender, we do sanction them to try to correct that behavior. If it's like a one-off situation, I forgot to put it in, chances are the first time we'll, let you off a little slap on the wrist. But if it becomes a habitual habit, that's when we start leveling those sanctions.
So Jared, you'll see an email from me very shortly that I will send to Chris about concerns of the time lapse of the 48 hours and industry peers that put our fiduciary in a tough spot because they choose to advertise and take advantage of loopholes that make us look bad and give the industry or perpetuate probably industry issues that I don't think is fair or in the spirit of clear cooperation.
We have one more follow-up question from the North Shore here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Question. I understand the 48-hour period for, to allow life happening for delayed listings, but what about brokerages that use the 48-hour period specifically for their marketing? So I know of a brokerage that, will always market 48 hours first on their social media and then put it in, is there any way to kind of crack down between using it as a marketing tool versus actually just like using it for, agent life?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of things embedded in there. So basically the history of the 48-hour rule was to allow companies that only have staff input listings, they're typically not there on the weekends. And like you said, life happens. You know, you may have a situation where, yeah, you get your listing, but you can't for some reason get it in right away. So that's kind of why the 48-hour rule exists. Actually, when it comes to Wisconsin MLSs, we actually have the shortest period of that. I think it's Madison area has like 7 or 10 days before they have to put it into their system. We always understand that, you know, someone will always take advantage of whatever, you know, policy is out there. And it always comes down to what is in the best interest of your seller. You know, you have that responsibility to your seller, and is not opening up that property to the entire marketplace right away beneficial to them. You know, chances are they're not getting the highest price for their house if it's being, you know, just kept to a certain, you know, group of people. And then that being said, you also could look at it from the side of, you know, discriminations, where not everyone has equal access to that property as far as the public goes. And we see that too when it comes to excluded listings. You know, is every protected class being represented to have the same opportunities to see those properties? Probably not, because they're, you know, not everyone's hearing about those properties. So I mean, those are kind of important things to keep into consideration.
Cool. Any other questions from the room? No.
And like Charlie
Good.
said, you know, if you do have those concerns, you know, definitely, you know, shoot us an email, send it, you know, give us a call, and, you know, let's have those conversations, and we can always bring things to the board and ask them, you know, if they want to make the changes and what the reasons are for them.
Cool. Jared, thanks for giving of your time, taking a step away from the WRA convention this morning to have a conversation with us.
Absolutely.
Guys, I wanted you to hear it directly from the Metro MLS, because it seems as if we've been talking a lot about these policies in the last several weeks, and it's because we've seen an uptick in terms of activity and questioning intent, both internal and external, just so you guys know. And we wanted to be able to provide a platform in which that you heard answers.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah. Shades, what do you got? Speak up or forever hold your peace. Okay.
Hey, Charlie, can you hear us?
Yeah, what do you got, Josh?
Paul's got one here for Jared.
Just a real quick question regarding excluded listings for those agents that are not maybe as familiar with excluded status as they should be. You cited one example, which was confidentiality. Are there any other examples that you could give, or should our agents know that exclusive listing is only pertinent or related to those people that wish to remain confidential or anonymous to the sale?
Yeah, so the main purpose of excluding the listing is concerns over privacy. You know, if as a member of the MLS, you basically have stated when you join that you're going to operate in a cooperative manner with everyone else in the system. There's that little carve out for the excluded listings. It's not meant to be a sales tactic or for in-house sales. It literally is meant just to protect that seller's identity from getting out to the public, because there are those situations where it could be a sensitive issue and they don't want everyone knowing that their property is for sale.
Cool.
And Rick, I saw your question in chat. I do not have an answer for you, so I will work on getting one, and I will send it over to Charlie.
Perfect. Jared, thank you. Guys, I think you understand where I'm coming from as it relates to, there are a few things that I'll be that I would like to challenge and have open dialogue with Jared, Erica, Chris, and a few others as it relates to how we look at policies and procedures and how it protects fair housing, as well as in the spirit of clear cooperation, and some things that I'm working on with GMAR board and strategic planning for 2024 that I think would help create some progressive policies moving forward with the MLS. All right, last question, Aaron. Yes.
Sure, the policy went into effect 2 years ago. It sounds like the potential penalty was $2,000.
Jared, any idea as it relates to the data of how many policy or how many penalties you've handed out in the last 2 years as it relates to this policy?
That information I don't have at my fingertips. When I get back to the office, it's something I can ask about, because that's all done through our data integrity department.
Got it.
roughly.
I can dig into it. And, I hope everyone, knows that they can reach out to me at any point in time. I feel like I'm pretty user friendly. So if you ever need to get a hold of me, Jared, Jared at MetroMLS.com is the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Cool. Awesome, guys. There it is. My intent and goal is to never waste your time this morning. That's what we got from a content perspective. 30 minutes. I said it was going to be short, quick, and sweet. Here you go. Next week, little sneak preview. I will do a deep dive as to where the market and industry is as we close out September and head into October. I'll also give you an update as it relates to lore and brokerage performance, our peers' performance, and where the trends are going. I will tell you, I looked at very quick initial data this morning and ahead of this conversation, but it only being the 3rd, the data is not totally fully baked yet. Next week by the 10th, it will be. September was a very good month. Trends are improving slightly as we've seen from good trends that improved in August. So stay tuned for that detail that I'll go into in more in depth next week. Sound good? Beautiful. Guys, it's going to be an 80-degree day. Take advantage of it because once that AC kicks in on Friday and goes into the 50s, I don't think we'll see it in the 80s again until 2024. So guys, get out, enjoy the sun. Jared, thanks for jumping on. And guys, have a great week.